Let's make this monstrosity. So half of my family lives in St. Louis. My dad is from there and I've been there like 20 times in my life. I usually go there around holiday times, but being an adult makes it pretty hard. So this past Christmas, I got to go there for the first time in like 8 years. And they have a tradition of spending a whole day making a bunch of cookies the week before Christmas. I don't have any footage of it, unfortunately, but I did get to make a lot of cookies, including these monster cookies. They were my favorites of the bunch and they came from my cousins, the Endejans. It's an old family recipe that's been around a while, as you can tell by it being on this index card. And I'm gonna go ahead and share it with everybody. Let's get into it. So this is traditionally done by hand, but since I have a stand mixer and I'm lazy, I'm going to use that. But going by the card, I'm going to mix my ingredients in the order they're listed. By the way, the recipe on the card makes over 200 small cookies, and that's only considered half of the recipe, so I'm going to half it again, so I'm really making a quarter recipe. But I ended up getting like 70 medium-sized cookies out of this, which was plenty. So I'm adding 3 eggs, and you can see one of these was a double yolker.
Get yoked, bro.
A couple of splashes of vanilla, and I'm just going to give that a preliminary mix to beat those up. Then I'll add in my 225 grams or a little more than a cup of brown sugar and 200 grams or 1 cup exactly of white sugar. Now I'm going to beat those together for a couple of minutes just to start dissolving the sugar, and then I'll go in with 113 grams or 1 stick of softened butter. I usually mix my butter into cookie doughs at the beginning with the sugars, but this recipe has you do it after the eggs, and knowing that now, I would either melt it to add it in at this stage or add it in at the beginning with the sugars. Either way, once that's mixed in, I'm going to add in my 2 teaspoons or 9 grams of baking soda. This recipe doesn't call for any salt, but I'm just going to add a pinch because I always feel like it needs it in a cookie recipe, followed by my 9 ounces or about 250 grams of peanut butter. I have a couple of open jars, one of these regular peanut butters and then one with no sugar added, but I think pretty much anything will work. I will just always measure peanut butter by weight with a scale. There is no sense, in my opinion, trying to dirty up and scoop out a measuring cup for this. And then 360 grams or about 4.5 cups of dry oats. I'm just using these old-fashioned oats. These are the dry ingredients. There is no flour in this recipe, by the way. I try not to overmix at this point, just get everything to where it's homogeneous. Of course, scrape the sides and bottom as you need to. And lastly, I'm just going in with 120 grams or about a quarter pound each of M&Ms and chocolate chips. I could only get many M&Ms, so I used those, and then I used mostly many chocolate chips, but did supplement with a few larger chocolate chips. Very gently mix all that together until it's cohesive, and that's your cookie dough. There's no chilling required for this. We can go right to baking. So I preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius, and then I just grab a few baking sheets and a couple of small spoons. And I typically like giant cookies, but sometimes that's not the best thing to do. So we make pretty small teaspoon-sized cookies out of this dough. My family goes even smaller than this, but you can do whatever you want here. Just give them a little room between each other and then you can throw them right into the oven. I rotate my tray halfway through and it's done in about 10 to 12 minutes. You're just looking for it to really slightly brown on top, and that's when you want to pull it right out because it'll burn after that. In the meantime, you can prep your next trays, and after your cookies are out for about 5 minutes, you can very carefully transfer them to a cooling rack. And that's it. Really simple monster cookies that can be done in a flash. They're very crisp, they have the chew from the oatmeal, but they're still packed with the richness from the peanut butter, M&Ms, and chocolate chips. Just a nice variation on your regular chocolate chip cookie. I really enjoy these, so I hope you try them at some point and see that you do too. But I'll wrap up here with a taste test. Today's vanilla milk is brought to you by this vanilla extract that one of my students, Max, got me while they were in Mexico. So thank you, Max, for the awesome gift. So these monster cookies are lovely for holidays or parties. They're one of the few oatmeal cookies that I actually enjoy. Nice and crumbly and crisp. Let's get right in. Cheers. Okay, this vanilla is exquisite. Tastes really good. But yeah, really enjoyable, kind of light cookie, mostly crisp, but you get that texture that you can really only get from an oatmeal cookie. There's not a lot of butter in this cookie compared to a regular cookie recipe, but the peanut butter kind of supplements with it to add the fat that you need to make a cookie like this. It's very sweet with all the sugar in it, so I think that pinch of salt is really necessary to cut through all of it. But like I said, we made over 200 of these at Christmas time in St. Louis, so I destroyed a bunch of them and even got to take some back home to here and ate even more of them. But yeah, super simple and easy, and sometimes those recipes are the best ones to make. It's really hard to screw up something like this, but it is a detour from your regular chocolate chip cookie. Just something to change it up next time you have to bring something to a gathering. Which, speaking of, I'm bringing these to a church gathering tomorrow, so hopefully everyone enjoys them. And hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any family recipes that have been passed on that are some of your favorites, let me know in the comments. As always, thank you all for watching, be blessed, and I'll see you next time. Definitely going to be seeing more of this vanilla and recipes coming up.